Hello and good this time to you. Welcome to another version of this tutorial where I'm teaching you all about legal method, which is a course designed by Ben Textolapia at Northeastern University, Gombe, Faculty of Law. So in this week too, we are going to look like the aspect of law, which is the type of law in terms of how the law got its authority, how the law drive its power and authority from, such as the eternal law, divine law, natural law, and human or positive law. These laws they are looking alike, but somehow they differs. Most especially eternal law and divine law, which also natural law, they somehow look alike. So I'm going to explain them in a very clear and understanding manner before we delve deeper into the notes. So before doing that, please, I would like you to smash on the subscription button and make sure you follow us so that we are going to be posting things that has to do with law, things that are going to be assisting you to understand your academics, things that will guide you towards your joining in study law from 100 level up to your law school by God grace. Okay, so and please also share this note to anyone who you know is in need of. So now let me explain to you what did we understand, what you should understand by this character or these types of law. Law is subcategorized into many categories based on so many things. So, based on what people are practicing in their country, you can say law is categorized into common law, civil law, Sharia law, canon law. Common law, the one that has to do with English, common law, right? Civil law, that's the French, right? Then Sharia law, that's the Saudi. Then canon law, that's the Israel. This is based on what people practice. Then based on the parties, there is private law and personal law. So sorry, private and public law. Private law is the one for private individuals, such as marriage, that's family law, such as company law. These are for private persons. Then there is another one which is public law, which applies to all. Example of it is the criminal law, the civil law, and all those things. Do you understand? So this classification of law, there are many classifications, but let me just restrict it to what we have in our front now. So the main area we are going to focus here is classification of law based on how the law source its authority. Do you understand? There are laws at our hands, at our fingertips. These laws have gotten their authority from either eternal law or divine law or natural law or human right law. Do you understand? Meaning, how does this law come to become a very powerful one? It sources its power from either eternal law, natural law, or human right law, or human law, or divine law. So, what is the meaning of eternal law? What is the meaning of divine law? What is the meaning of natural law? What is the meaning of human or positive law? Let me explain to you in very detailed explanation that you understand. The first thing is eternal law. When we said eternal, we mean universe. Something has to do with the universe entirely. This universe, God created this universe to be something that when you do this, this will happen. When you don't do this, this will happen. If you do good, you see good. If you do bad, you see bad. Do you understand? So there are things that are unchangeable in the universe entirely. For example, if you are thirsty, the only thing that will quench your thirst is to drink water. Who will tell you that if you refuse to drink water and you stay on the sun, your thirst will be quenched? The law here is it is only drinking water that quench your thirst. This is a law that can never be changed. So eternal law are unchangeable. These are the laws of the universe entirely. It is known that if you choke yourself with knife in your heart, you will die. Eternal law has explained this. No one will say you have breached these rules. You can never breach it. Oh, these dogs. Oh. Sorry for the dogs. Okay, so just like I was saying, when we said eternal law is just like physics. Eternal law is something that is unchangeable. If you fall from the roof of your house, it is likely that you will die. This is something that is unchangeable. These are laws that God has already set them in the universe. It is not it is not an advice for you that you will die or you may not die. No, automatically is death. So these kind of things, they are laws that are unchangeable. Do you understand? So this is eternal law. I hope you understand eternal law. Then now, divine law. Divine law, they are more of moral rules and regulations that are set or that are revealed down to our prophets, or perhaps they are revealed to in our holy books, such as the one that is revealed in the Bible, or the one that is revealed in the Quran, or other holy books we have. Do you understand? So these are divine law, moral laws, laws that were brought by God, laws that are set from divine God to the earth. Do you understand? These are divine laws. Divine laws, they are God laws. Okay. So now, what is the connection between eternal law and divine law? Before we go into the notes, I said eternal law is the law of the universe. Please take it. Is there anywhere in the world that if you are thirsty, you don't need to drink water? There is not. Anywhere you go in the world, if you are thirsty, you must drink water before it will quench your thirst. You can never say you are thirsty and you didn't drink water and nothing happen again. Is there any law that says if you are sleepy, you will not sleep? There is not. Anywhere you go in the universe, sleeping, you must sleep before that sleep leave your eyes. Do you understand? So that is the law of the universe in general. Law of the universe. And also divine law is the one that God has revealed. They have connection because who set the law of the universe is God. And who set the laws in the divine book, in the holy book, is God. But look at it, look at the difference. Divine law, they are more of moral principles that regulate the activities of human, you and your fellow brothers or your fathers or your siblings, like human activities. While eternal law, it regulates everything in general. Everything in general. That's eternal law. It is a law that if you are hungry, you must eat. It is a law that if you eat poison, you will see poison. Do you understand? So that is it. So, one thing, you can breach a divine law by not following what God said, but you will never breach an eternal law. If you breach eternal law, now die be death, or maybe you see the bad aspect of it. So that's different. Now let's look at natural law, human law or positive law. Human or positive law. What is natural law? Natural law is more of something by nature a human knows that is wrong or right. That's natural law. Laws that are driven from nature, not even if God did not say do not do it, you already feel it in you that it is wrong. Let's give an example of this natural law. For example, you already know that slapping someone boa in his face will make him to feel hot and it will make him to say, I will retaliate. That is by nature. You know the nature has told you that this face you are seeing will feel pain. So let me not slap this person. Naturally, by nature, you know if you stone someone, it will hit him and it will break his head. Then the nature has explained to you not to do that. That's the law of the nature. So law of the nature are those laws that even without the divine law, human will perceive it in him that this is not correct or this is correct. Do you understand? That's natural law. Then what are positive law? These positive law, they are laws that are made by human, laws that regulate the society where people live, laws that when me and you sit down, we will now said, oga, me I don't like the way you are playing music, oya, me too I don't like the way you are cooking smelling food, oya, I will not cook smelling food again, oya, okay, thank you, I will not loud music again. So this law you create between you is called positive law. What human has created that will regulate their activities. Do you understand? So this is the simplest way you can understand eternal law, divine law, natural law, and human right law. Now let's delve deeper into his note to see what he has given us and to see whether it has go in compliance with what I have just said. So the first thing he said is introduction. Why do we study this aspect of law? The study of the aspect of law is central to understanding jurisprudence. What is jurisprudence? Jurisprudence is scholarly view in terms of anything. Let's say, for example, I come out and I give my view about what I understand by an aspect of law. Then that is jurisprudence. Jurisprudence is scholarly view and philosophy of law. The word philosophy, you have to understand this, is those people that philosophy is desire of knowledge. Philo and Sophia. When someone has the desire to seek for knowledge, then he is called a philosopher. That act of seeking for knowledge is philosophy. You understand? So, what is the hidden knowledge in legal system? Philosophy of anything means the hidden desire of knowledge in that particular thing. That knowledge that is hidden in that particular thing. Do you understand? So, the study of the aspect of law is essential in understanding the philosophy, the jurisprudence of the legal system. Why is the legal system brought apart? Who and who has set their view in the legal system? Then, before you can study aspect of law, it requires you to distinguish between the source of authority of law. How the law got its authority. I told you some laws are driven from divine law, some laws are driven from natural law, and some laws are driven from human laws. Do you understand? So, and the nature of validity that sustain them. What validates them to come to exist? What make them to stand on their ground? Then, according to John Austin and HLA Hart, that's Hart, he provide divergent conception of law. He brought so many different conception of law. Divergent means different conception of law's essence. That's importance of law. In Nigerian context, the multiplicity of of the sources, including statutory law, customary law, and Islamic law, create a unique framework where divine, natural, and positive element coexist. So now let's look at the first one, which is eternal law. Just like I told you, eternal law is the law of the universe entirely. Eternal law will never change. You know, some laws that are in Sharia might not be the same laws that are in Bible. Some laws that are in Bible might not be the same laws that are in the shrine or all those kind of laws. And we all believe that they are divine in nature. When we say something is divine, meaning that particular thing is ordained by God, something spiritual, something that it is God that brought it down to the earth. Do you understand? So, eternal law is a law that is universal in nature, something that the universe entirely, everybody will follow it whether you like it or not. And you can never breach an eternal law. Breaching an eternal law will come with a consequences. Rather, in a divine law, if you breach a divine law, it might not come with a consequences. Do you understand? So let's look at it. Eternal law refers to the overreaching rationale order of universe. Overreaching rationale. When we said something is rational, is reasonable thinking. Do you understand? So that kind of higher reasonable order of the universe, it's often linked to divine reason. We know that it is God that create the world. We know that He is one that makes people if they took themselves to die. He is one that designed everything. So that is why eternal law is linked to divine reason. You understand? We said divine is something spiritual, right? According to Thomas Aquinas, this particular person is a naturalist. He is called Thomas Aquinas. He said eternal law is the type of law, it is the type of divine wisdom. According to him, he said the eternal law is just like a divine wisdom, meaning it's a supernatural wisdom where you know that how did God create this sun to be going and coming again? Today in the night there will be moon and in the morning there will be sun. This is divine in nature. So that's why he said eternal law is a type of divine wisdom. That's a type of spiritual wisdom, according to him, as directing all action and movement. He does that anything in this world is God that directed it. So to him, eternal law is a type of divine wisdom that is directing all actions and wisdoms. Oh, my brothers are back. So just like we were saying, um eternal law is a type of divine law, is a type of divine wisdom. Like it's more of a divine wisdom. Divine wisdom meaning spiritual wisdom, as is directing all action and movement. Eternal law is one that directs everything. Anything you see, any movement, that's how it is. God has said it that if you walk, you have to push your leg forward before you walk. If you stay in one place, you don't walk. And staying in one place meaning standing, not walking. So those are the laws that applies to everywhere in the world. Do you understand? So eternal law is the one, it forms the foundation of natural laws. This eternal law is one that used to give you the feeling of nature in you. You know that slapping someone is wrong. How? Because it's eternal. The law of the universe eternally knows that when you slap someone, you feel pain. That's how the eternal law says. Then you feel it by nature. You know it that slapping someone now became wrong. So the act of slapping and feeling wrong is the eternal law. The act of slapping and feeling hot is the eternal law. Then the act of feeling I didn't do the right thing is the natural law. Do you understand? So eternal law is is the foundation of natural law. Okay? How? Because it represents God's covenants of the cosmos, while eternal law is the metaphysical and not directly enacted in Nigeria. This is trying to tell you that eternal law is not directly inflicted in the 1999 Constitution. We don't mostly apply it. So this is just all for this area. And then let's look at the next thing, which we'll see is this example and illustration. Please, you can do that on yourself. Well, let me solve. Let's just go to the divine law. What is divine law? Just like I told you, divine law refers to moral commandment which is revealed through sacred texts. Secret texts, such as in Christianity, it is embodied in Bible, in Islam, in Quran and Hadith. So this is divine law, the one that is explaining the moral principles. Very simple. Eternal law, it regulates the entire universe. Eternal law is the one that is unchangeable. Do you understand? While divine law, it regulates the people in the universe. Do you understand? So that's how it is. And then in Nigerian legal system, it accommodated divine law in limited context. For example, in Sharia courts of appeal, it established under section 260 and 275 of the 1999 Constitution that it's established that applies Islamic personal law in specific matters such as marriage, succession, and family relationship. So divine law is recognized in Nigeria, such as in the north. Okay, so let's look at the next one, which is natural law. This note I've explained to you from the beginning. Natural law asserts that there are universal moral principles discovered by human reason, which provide a standard against which positive law is measured. Do you understand? So this natural law is sourced by human reason. Just like I told you, even if there is no any, let's say human did not discover God, human did not discover anything that has to do by mere living within his surroundings. You know that anybody that sleep with my wife, I will kill him or I will not be happy. That's by nature. Then you set the laws. So if naturally you feel unhappy when someone do this for you, then you now make it to be a law. Then it forms the basic of human law. Look at it. Natural law asserts that there are universal moral principles discovered by human reason. These are moral principles that human reasoning discover it, which provide a standard against which positive law is measured. So if you come to measure positive law, you now look at it from the angle of nature. Is this naturally good or bad? This gay of a thing, when they brought it to Nigeria, they weigh it. Look at it now. Is this naturally good? Then they now discover that it's absolutely naturally bad. So that's why it stopped. But some countries do not give it that thought. They look to see it as anything that human feel I can do or I want to, then is by nature. So that's their own. Cicero, this is a scholar. Cicero described it as right reasoning in agreement with nature. You reason right that goes in line with the nature. You just say that, okay, Kai, if I kill this person is wrong, oh, then that is nature telling you not to. Though you know it is in the divine, right? And you know it is in the positive, but by nature you know it's bad. So that's how natural law works. It is of universal application, unchanging and everlasting. Natural law is unchangeable, it's everlasting. Everybody will feel bad if anyone sleeps with wife. That's how natural law is. So, and also natural law has been enshrined. The natural law tradition influence Nigerian constitution framework, especially provision guaranteeing fundamental rights in Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution. So the natural law has been enshrined. The Constitution of Nigeria now realized that everybody deserves the right to be treated fairly, given personal liberty, right to move. So that's why it has been enshrined in the 1999 Constitution. So now let's look at another law, which is the next. This is a continuation. Please do good to look at this example. I'm just trying to give you the hints, okay? So, human or positive law. In simple essence, human law are those laws that human made by themselves. How do these laws source themselves is when nature told you that you feel this is not good, then you now make it a law. So now it has now turned to natural law to become a positive law. You created it yourself. Let's say, for example, a place where you just came, nobody is living, and you find out that anybody that eat your food, you are angry, then you now make it a law. Please do not eat my food. By nature, nature has introduced this law to you. You know that doing it will bring chaos. Then you now make it a law, meaning it has become a natural law. So positive law is laws created by legitimate human authority. I've explained this. Legitimate means something real, something agreed and accepted, something that people agreed that they are the right people to do the laws. Do you understand? Such as legislatures, you see, executives or recognized customary institution. These are the lawmakers, okay? John Austin defined law as a command issued by a sovereign, backed by sanction. You see, according to John Austin, he said law is a command. Who made the command a sovereign authority? How? He backed that command by sanction. Do this, and if you don't do this, you'll be punished. A command. Then there is sanction. Then you must follow. This is just a very simple explanation of what law is. In Nigeria, positive law includes statute enacted by the National Assembly is part of a positive law. When the National Assembly make laws, it's part of a natural and positive law. Then state of assembly also delegated legislation, judicial precedent, etc. What do we mean by delegated legislation? Delegated legislation, they are body that legislatures give them right to make their laws. Example of delegated legislatures are, for example, the EFCC. These are body that legislatures create them and now give them power to make their own laws. Example, the NMPC also, these are delegated legislations. So legislation has given them power to make their own laws. Do you understand? So that's delegated legislatures. Legislatures have given them the power to make laws. Okay. So example of positive law include, what is it? Okay, example of positive law include the Electoral Act. This is an example of positive law. These are laws that people create by themselves. The administration of criminal justice and the decision of the Supreme Court, which bind lower courts under the doctrine of precedent, under the doctrine of precedent. So this is just something you can read on your own. Let's look at it. Example of an application, example of positive law include the electoral. I've explained this one. Interconnection of the aspect of law. How do they interconnect? Nigerian legal system is pluralist, meaning it's not single. It has different combination of statutory laws. You understand? Meaning it has this. So our legal system has solved so many areas. One, we have combining statutory law, that's the laws made by the legislation. Common law, that's the English received English law. Customary law, that's the one we practice in our own custom and tradition. Islamic law, that's the one Islamic law practice. This interplay demonstrates the coexistence of divine law, Sharia, natural law, constitution, and positive law. So this thing, Nigerian legal system has connected this. Meaning, in our constitution, we have a divine law, which is the one that we do in Sharia in the north. That's our penal code. We have a positive law. So we have a natural law, which is the constitution. The constitution under human rights is a natural law itself. By nature, everybody deserve rights. That's a natural law. And positive law, that's what? Statute and judicial decision. When the lawmakers, when the statute and judicial decisions make laws, they create it by themselves, which is a law on us. So that is a positive law. Conflict, they have some confliction occasionally, areas. They have some confliction, it arises occasionally. For example, between Sharia penal code and the constitution guarantees of freedom of religion or non-discrimination of section this. Court attempts to harmonize this tension by applying constitutional supremacy under this blah blah blah. Global best practice. So, which is practice best in the global? Globally, the balance between natural law, divine law, and positive law differs across jurisdiction. Some they prefer natural law, and some they prefer positive law, and some they prefer divine law. Such places like Saudi, they prefer divine law, that's law of the Sharia. Places like Nigeria, they prefer positive law. You understand? So all have their own. Places like America, they prefer natural law. So these are this. The balance between natural law and divine law and positive law differs across jurisdiction. In United Nations, you see, in United States, natural law heavily influence the Constitution and the Bible of Rights. In Saudi Arabia, divine law is the supreme source of legislation. In South Africa, the constitution explicitly integrated natural law principle, which is section 39 sub 1, mandating the court interprets rights in light of the internal laws, blah, blah, blah. Nigeria now, we in Nigeria, we have a hybrid approach reflecting its colonial heritage and diverse cultural and religious composition. So Nigeria is a multiple one. We have everything inside intact. We have an area where it is only natural law that applies, an area where it is only Sharia law, Islamic or natural or human law that applies, or divine law. So that is how Nigerian is. So, in conclusion, the study of law encompasses a diverse array of concepts and perspective, ranging from divine commandments and metaphysical principles to human-made legal system and institutions. By understanding the various types of law, including eternal, divine, and natural law, and human or positive law, we gain insight. Meaning of insight means knowledge, or you gain something very useful into the complex and multifaceted, I don't know this word, multifaceted nature of legal system and their role in governing human behavior and society. So thank you very much. Please do well to share this note to someone who is in need of it, and follow us to the next tutorial guide where we are going to explain in details. Please, if you are understanding, please like and comments. And also, if you can contribute anything you want, or perhaps you want a recommendation of how best I should give the tutorial, please do that, and I'll wait for your comments. Thank you very much and have a wonderful time.